Carlos Rodon helps the Yankees complete their series sweep in the Bronx against the Rangers. Where are the Rangers' bats? We're going to talk about that. This is MLB Game Night, our latest episode. Every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
He is Lindsay Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast. You can follow Lindsay on the X at Crosby Baseball. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on Baseball. Lindsay, we are underway. Jose Altuve, a couple of home runs against the Mariners. George Kirby did make a season debut for the M's in that game in Houston. Angels stay red hot. The Phillies with a shutout win. We get into all of it right now, and we start with what happened in the Bronx on Thursday afternoon. Carlos Rodon and the Yankees blanking the Rangers 1-0. Vivas, the home run of the fifth, that accounted for the only run. And right now we welcome in Jay Berman, Locked On Yankees, as he gives us the recap of the series sweep.
The Yanks beat the Texas Rangers 1-0. Yorby Vivas, his very first major league home run, proved to be the difference. That was the only run scored. Carlos Rodon, 6 scoreless, struck out 8, earns his 6th win of the season. Speaking of his season's ERA, now down to 2.88. As for the bullpen, Mark Leiter Jr., Devin Williams, Luke Weaver, innings 7, 8, 9. They get the job done. The Yanks pitchers struck out 12 Rangers today, walking just 2. And again, the Yanks have now won 4 in a row overall. They sweep the Rangers in 3 straight. They've also won 11 of 14 and now hit the road. 3 in Denver, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then 3 in Anaheim for the Angels. Then 3 in LA for the Dodgers. Should be fun, a 9-game swing. But again, closer to home, a 1-0 win today for the Yanks.
Jay Berman right there, host of the Locked On Yankees postcast. And Lindsay, he mentioned the upcoming road trip. And all I think about with the Yankees right now is look out Toronto, look out Boston, because you don't want to fall behind the Yankees any further in that AL East, because they are off and running right now. They've got all facets of the game going in the right direction.
If you had told me that they would lose Garrett Cole before the season started and have a Cy Young candidate in Max Fried, and Carlos Rodon hasn't given up a run in 4 starts, I would have never believed that this team was going to do this season. But to your point, Aaron Judge is absolutely dominant. Didn't have a great game in this one. He's still only batting .396 after an 0-for-3 day. It feels like this Yankees team is kind of inevitable out of the American League as long as health is on their side.
Went back to Baseball Reference. I don't always look at these numbers, but when they stand out a little bit, you want to do a little research on it. A big positive for me with Rodon, 16 swing and misses on Thursday. His last 3 starts, 18, 15, and the 16 on Thursday. That is what you want to see from a guy like Carlos Rodon, because he does have swing and miss stuff.
He does, and it was a rocky transition to New York.
Yeah.
He signs over 2023, ERA over 6.5. He doesn't get in but like 15 games. Last year, rebounded a bit, little bit unlucky, 3.96 ERA, but this year, ERA is getting really close to 3. Again, he's had 4 starts with no runs, 6 starts with either no or 1 runs, and is just the strikeouts are there. The big thing for me, though, is he's not allowing a ton of extra walks. Going into this start today, he was the MLB leader in fewest hits per 9 innings with only 5.3, which would be a career best by at least a hit and a half over his previous best numbers. So 2 lefties key in this rotation, and Fried and Rodon, they can really do something. I can't think of the last time I saw a rotation with 2 lefties up top like this that were this good at the same time.
And you touched on it. Garrett Cole went down for the entire 2025 season. I thought, write him off. They have Luis Gil, who won the Rookie of the Year award last year. He'll be back at some point as well. Now, the Yankees scored 10 runs in taking all 3 from the Rangers. The Rangers scored 5 runs total. You want to talk about pitching? They've got pitching. But right now, Their offense is anemic, much to the chagrin, and it's really frustrating our guy Ben from Locked On Rangers.
The Rangers lost again. The Rangers got shut out again in an absolutely infuriating sweep to those stupid Yankees. This offense is garbage. This is the most infuriated I've ever been at a sports team in my life. Nathan Eovaldi throws an absolute gem and gets the loss. Last night, we got to see another gem from Jacob deGrom and a loss. It is a miracle this team is not at the bottom of baseball because I don't know what keeps happening. What are they telling them to do with runners in scoring position, hitting-wise? Just do the worst thing possible, because if that's the plan, it's working. Because this team can't score for crap. They are wasting 3 AL Cy Young candidates in an awful season. This was just the epitome of what has been the problem this season. This team can't hit for crap.
And they've got hitters in this lineup. You look at the back of their baseball card, they can hit. They've got success over prior years. It's just not happening right now. And let's not forget, they did change their hitting coach. Brett Boone is now on board.
Yeah, but I mean, to Bryce's point, last 7 days, they're batting .202. They are 40 for 198 with 13 extra base hits. They've struck out 61 times in the last 7 days. It's just like, I believe that's the second highest number in baseball, behind only the Seattle Mariners, who always lead baseball in strikeouts. At this point, like Bryce touched on it, Cy Young candidates in your rotation, and you just can't give them any offense. To your point, you already changed the hitting coach. There's only a certain number of things you can keep doing at this point because you've hit all the low-hanging fruit. At a certain point in time, it comes down to the players, and they have to actually perform. And Texas is in danger of their season completely slipping away if they can't fix this quickly.
I say a lot of those same things with the Red Sox. You strike out way too much. The approach hasn't changed. It's not on Alex Cora, the hitting coach, the pitching coach. We know any of those guys could go, at least the pitching coach and hitting coach, for a change of scenery, change of voice, all those different things. But it's on the players on the field. You've got to produce. Speaking of producing, Jose Altuve had a big night. Astros opened up a 10-game homestand, first to 4 against the Mariners, picked up a 9-2 victory in the series opener. George Kirby back for the Mariners. That's a good sign. We hear from Eric, Locked On Astros, as the Astros again pick up the victory in the series opener.
After those last few games against the Rays, Astros fans must have been a little confused. What's going on here? What type of team do we have? My name is Eric Heisman from the Locked On Astros podcast, and the offense came out 9-2 victory. Jose Altuve had 2 home runs. This was the first home run he had since April 28th. Lance McCullers pitched into the 5th inning, had 8 strikeouts, and overall you had a lot more offense throughout the day. And the hottest hitter for the Houston Astros, Paredes, he did not even get hit in today's game. So it was a very spread out offense, and most of it at the bottom of the order, and Jose Altuve. So we'll talk about that on tonight's Locked On Astros podcast.
Eric Heisman, Locked On Astros right there. Hey, they pick up the victory. It's a good win right now for Houston. They take the opener. They've got 3 more in that series. George Kirby did return. Shut down early March, right shoulder inflammation. Great to see him back. Went 3 2/3, gave up 5 earned runs. Mariners now 6-3 over their last 9. But Lance McCullers on the other side, as Eric mentioned, the bullpen did terrific for the Astros in the series opener Thursday night with 4 2/3 scoreless.
Yeah, I mean, Lance McCullers still trying to come back. At this point, first time back in like 3 years, I guess second outing back in like 3 years, it's really hard for me to say, hey, Lance McCullers needs to do more than he's doing. Now, is this sustainable for 3 months? No, he needs to be giving you standard length starts. But something like this here, when you have great offense from Jose Altuve and the rest of the boys, you're on a 10-game homestand here. You're at home. This is fine for Lance McCullers, and he is they needed pitching help. He's got pitching help. The bullpen's been good enough. The offense has been good enough. To Eric's point, Isaac Paredes didn't have a single hit tonight, and they still won easily. I think at this point, it's more important for George Kirby to get right than it is for Lance McCullers to get right, because The Mariners offense has backed off a little bit from their league leading ways from earlier in the year, and they need this pitching staff to step up and help them. It can't be just Brian Wu every fifth day.
Yeah. Mariners' Julio Rodriguez, late scratch from Thursday's game, was scratched from the starting lineup about 30 minutes before the start. Not sure if you saw that or not, but they gave no indication as to why he was scratched. They were going to wait until after the game for that. The Red Sox got a much-needed Crash Davis, Bull Durham reference right there, rain out on Thursday because their bullpen needed a rest. Orioles, Red Sox are going to play 2 on Friday. And, hey, you know what? The Orioles get a night off in Boston. They can savor that victory that they had against the Brewers on Wednesday night.
Real quick, we do have an update on Julio Rodriguez after the game.
Okay.
Back tightness per MLB.com's Daniel Kramer.
There you go. Day to day like the rest of us, I'm sure. Hottest team in baseball. Yeah, the Angels. The Angels able to take care of business on Thursday against the Athletics. We'll have details next. This is Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering your plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, everybody, DIYers and pros alike, can use promo code SH5 for 5% off your order. That's at supplyhouse.com.
All right, Lindsay, mentioned the Angels are the hottest team right now. They've got the longest active win streak in baseball right now. We'll get into that in a moment. But the Phillies, I alluded to it earlier with the Yankees. They now go to Colorado, and it's not to go to Colorado to get healthy. It's just to continue to win. The Phillies just simply took care of business against the Rockies. They complete the series sweep, and they go 7-0 on the season against Colorado. We're going to get into that in a little bit in a moment here. But 2-0 the final. The Rockies, how do you have a shutout at Coors Field? That's what I'm wondering right now, because the Rockies now have been involved in a lot of shutouts on the losing side this season.
Hey, they've also been involved in close games on the winning side. They took down the Braves 2-1 in Colorado. But it's really odd to me that this team is so bad that they can't even overcome the great offensive environment of Coors Field to get on the board. And this Colorado team is pacing to make history for futility. They now have the worst 50-game start in baseball history with this loss.
I like that. You let that soak in a little bit right there.
Yeah.
That was very nice on
Thank
your
you.
part. Mark Farzetta has the Phillies perspective on this one. Again, the shutout win in the series finale at Coors Field. And there's some history with this as well for the Fightin' Phils.
Like the Philadelphia Phillies, who've been around since 1883, you really appreciate the phrase first time in franchise history whenever that gets thrown out. Well, this is the first time in franchise history the Phillies have ever completed a season series sweep of 7 or more games against an opponent, and their victim, the Colorado Rockies. And you might say, well, the Rockies are a terrible baseball team. Oh, and they are. But it's hard to beat any team 7 straight times in the season, the way the Phillies just handled their business in Colorado. Ranger Suarez, masterful through 6 2/3, just missed his 3rd straight start, getting 7 innings for the Phillies. He's been great ever since his debut 3 starts ago this season for the Phils. Now improves to 3-0 on the season. Then you also get all the offense you would need in this one with Max Kepler and Bryce Harper both getting RBI doubles in this one to help give the Phillies that 2-0 lead. Now there are 2 full games ahead of the Mets for first place in the NL East.
Mark right there, Lindsay, mentions 7-0 against the Rockies for the Phillies. The Rockies scored 15 runs total in those 7 games. 15.
And half of those were at home in Colorado. I mean, it's they have both the worst pitching staff in baseball and one of the worst offenses in baseball, which is amazing that a team can be bad at both of those at the same time. And the thing here is it doesn't get any easier for Colorado because the Yankees are coming to town this weekend, while Philly goes to Sacramento to take on the Athletics, who are also struggling themselves. So, like, things don't get easier for the Rockies. And at this point, I don't see 25 wins on the schedule. And it's amazing to think that this early in the year.
The Phillies with a win on Thursday. They've won 7 in a row. Season high 14 games over 500. And Mark mentioned it there, and it's like you almost have to listen to it twice. The Phillies are now 2 up on the Mets in the NL East. They sort of just went, see you later. We're going to take advantage of you scuffling. We're playing winning baseball right now. And you know what? Now we're the division leaders too.
And it's all because, I want to say it's all because of the offense, but the pitching has been really good too.
Pitching's
Suarez
really
is 3-0, 3 relievers. But like the offense is back to producing. Bryce Harper's hitting his groove again. You've got Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner's kind of making things happen at the plate. Max Kepler finally back off the IL. He's healthy. He had the RBI double tonight. And they're surging at the right time while the Mets are scuffed. I think the Mets have the worst batting average of the last 2 weeks. They're batting under 200 of the last 2 weeks. And Philly can continue to build this division lead. They host Atlanta next week. So they'll get the Athletics for 3, and then they'll host Atlanta. They can keep building this division lead they have while the Mets are scuffling.
Rockies on Thursday, shutout for the 8th time this season. Speaking of shutouts, Angels a shutout win against the Athletics in West Sacramento on Thursday. They continue to roll, much to the appreciation of our guy and fellow Locked On MLB Game Night host, John Frisch, who talks about the Angels blanking of the Athletics in the series finale.
My, how quickly things can change in the game of baseball. What's going on, everybody? John Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels. The Halos win their 7th game in a row. Don't ask me to look up the last time I was able to say that because I have no idea the last time this team won 7 in a row. But they did it thanks to some Taylor Ward heroics. He hit his 2nd grand slam of this road trip. Remember, he had that big, huge one against Robert Suarez last week against the Padres. And he does it again. A go-ahead grand slam puts the Angels up 6-5. Final score, 10-5. The Angels pad that lead and save some of their relief core for this upcoming Marlins series at home at the Big A. But man, it feels good to have a 7-game win streak. Nobody's really ran away with the AL West, and it's still a long season. So I feel like the Angels can climb right back where they want to be. Still 1 game under 500, but you hope with the Marlins coming to town, they can pick up a few games there. We're going to talk about this one on Locked On Angels, and we hope you'll join us.
Might be my favorite Angels hat right there that John was sporting. But right now, I mean, we've talked about this. You know, a lot of major league clubs are like volatile stocks right now, and I'm beginning to think it's like the weather in Florida. You don't like the weather in Florida? Wait 10, 15 minutes. You don't like the way your team's playing right now? Be patient and wait 4 or 5 days. They'll turn it around, and it seems like we talk about a lot of teams being that way right now.
The big thing for me with the Angels on this is it's not something where you can point to like one player fueling the whole thing. Yes, Taylor Ward's been hot. He's had an extra base hit in 8 straight games. It's like 1 off the team record, 17 RBIs in his last 10 games. But this is a full team effort, right? I mean, this is the pitching's doing it. Tyler Anderson struggled here. But like they've had plenty of pitching in this, and Logan O'Hoppe was hot. And it's like competition-wise. They took 3 against the Dodgers. They swept the Dodgers before the Athletics. Like there's nothing you can point to say this is fluky. It's just how long can they keep it going? And to John's point, they're only 4 games back in the West. Seattle is is leading, but they're also only 6-4 in their last 10. The Angels are 8-2 in their last 10. You keep playing like this, you're going to catch them in the span of the end of May, early June.
Sometimes it's when you play a team, and the Angels in this one playing a team in the Athletics that are just struggling. They had 10 hits and 10 walks as an offense, but Luis Severino, you waste a strong start from him as well. 6 innings, 2 earned runs allowed. He walked nobody and struck out 5. Grant Holman was charged with all 5 runs in the 7th inning, and as John mentioned, they added 3 more runs in the 9th inning to pad the lead and save the bullpen. But the Athletics now all of a sudden are going in the opposite direction. They've lost 9 in a row.
Yeah. And we got a report right before the show went live from Jeff Passan. They're going to call up their top center field prospect, Denzel Clark, send somebody down. Over the last 2 weeks, they've got several players batting 205 and under. They have 6 different players batting 205 or less. So center fielder JJ Bleday batting 143 with 9 strikeouts his last 10 games. He might be sent down to the minors to make room for Denzel Clark. You have to hope that helps. They've already called up Nick Kurtz, the first baseman. They're playing Tyler Soderstrom, the first baseman, out in left field, trying to make room for it. They're trying to make it work. They have a lot of young pieces, but right now it's just not working for them, and they've got to figure something out.
And they, stay the course. You don't get up too high. You don't get down too low. Right now, you're going in the wrong direction. You can turn it around. It's a team that finally got back to 500 last year after they really dug themselves into a hole. Your Braves on the road in our nation's capital against the Nationals and losing the bottom of the 10th inning. I know this one's painful. Ahmed Rosario single in the bottom of the 10th inning to end it. Matt Olson, RBI double in the 9th inning. That tied the game at 7-7. We'll start here and get your thoughts on it. Austin Riley thrown out at the plate trying to score. It was going to be the go-ahead run. And then the Braves do end up losing it in 10. Short 2-game series with a washout on Wednesday. How are you feeling about this one overall? And is that one where you put the stop sign up at third and let the next guy sort of try to get that runner Riley in from third base? Or were they, were they overly aggressive, or would you have rather seen that, the stop sign put up?
They were very aggressive, and it's not the first time they've been aggressive in that specific situation all year. It's something where Marcell Ozuna had 3 hits, was going to be up. Give him an opportunity with a runner on second, a runner on third, and only 1 out to drive 1 or multiple runs in. Behind Marcell Ozuna was going to be Drake Baldwin, the young, just graduated prospect who leads the team in batting average. You had 2 excellent opportunities to score, but you wave Austin Riley in. He's thrown out by about 2 steps. It's not as egregious as when Alex Verdugo was waved around. He was 3 steps from getting to third base when Jarren Duran got the ball in Boston. Like, it was not that egregious, but it was still a pretty bad send. I think if you have the bottom of the order coming up, maybe you send him. If there's 2 outs, maybe you send him to try to take a lead, but only 1 out, a guy who's 3 for 5 with a homer and a double already in that game, maybe you let him go ahead and hit and try to drive him in. So that was kind of the issue there. And the shame is AJ Smith-Shawver, the youngster, struggled. He gave up, I think it was 6 or 7 runs in this one. And the Braves battled back. The Braves got it back to tied in the 9th, but just couldn't, because that kind of killed the rally. They ended up getting walked off in the 10th.
We're going to hit a little bit more with the Braves with Lindsay in just a moment, but from the winning side, we hear from Ryan Clary about the Nationals' Curly W on Thursday.
You could not have written a better script for Robert Hassell III in his debut. 2 hits tonight and the game-winning run in extra innings as Ahmed Rosario pinch hit for Jose Tena, and that was the right decision. The Nationals win this one 8-7. That makes it 5 straight wins in a row, and technically back-to-back series sweeps. The Nationals, they played their best ball game tonight. Yes, later on in that game, as Jose Tena was pinch hit, the inning prior to that, he had the error that really kind of blew this thing open for the Nationals, and of course, blew the lead that they had. They should have won this game relatively easily, but again, that's not the really big story tonight. It's Robert Hassell III making his debut, providing 2 hits for the Nationals, and stealing a base. Also, the first National with a multi-hit game and a stolen base in his debut. How good can this be? Who knows?
Ryan Clary, Locked On Nationals. Lindsay, let's get back to the Braves because it was announced after the game. We were wondering when is this going to happen, but it looks like Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be activated and available for this weekend series.
Yeah, he's been in AAA Gwinnett for just under a week now. He's looked really good. He's hitting over 500 with the Stripers. He played in the outfield all 9 innings for the first time on Wednesday. It's the first time he's done that during his rehab stint. The original thing they had said was they wanted him to play 9 innings in the outfield back-to-back days before they would discuss activating him. But they scratched him from the lineup about 30 minutes before game time. They confirmed after the game he will be activated. He will be starting in right field, leading off tomorrow night. The Braves just fell under 500 with this loss, and it kind of feels like now is the chance. You got Strider back. Now you're getting Acuna back. There's really no excuses anymore. You're back to just about full health here. You've got all of your guys, all your pieces. Your stars are back. There's no excuse. Your offense has to be better, and you've got to make it happen. And the hope they have is, just like 2023, a healthy Ronald Acuna Jr. can do wonders for the entire lineup.
And it's interesting. He's going to be back in the big leagues, not on a rehab assignment, and he's been doing that from last year's injury. But he's going to get back to the big leagues within a couple of days of suffering that season-ending injury last May.
Yeah, and last time he came back from this injury, it was about 10 months. So he's had an extra 7 weeks to heal versus what he did last time. And the whole reason they were so patient with this is in 2022 when he came back, he needed rest days. He wasn't the same player. His knee was barking. He had issues. Their hope is now we took our time with this. Now he can play every single day, all 9 innings in right field. He'll get 3 games this weekend. They may sit him for 1. We'll see what happens. Then they have an off day on Monday. So we'll see how he responds to that. Hopefully he does well so he's ready for Philly on Tuesday.
Guardians got 7 scoreless from Tanner Bybee on Thursday night. Guardians with a shutout win in Motown over the Tigers in the series opener. That's next. This is MLB Game Night. All right, Lindsay, we've talked about Tanner Bybee on a handful of occasions when we've hosted together with MLB Game Night, and it's always been Tanner Bybee's had a rough outing. 7 scoreless. Guardians pick up the victory. They take game 1. First series of the season, by the way, between the Guardians and the Tigers. Let's hear from Justin Latta and get his winning perspective as the Guardians again take the opener.
More like Cleveland Guardians baseball. The Guardians once again had to battle the elements, but so did the Tigers. But the Guardians came out victorious, looking like the 2024 Cleveland Guardians a little bit. This is Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians. It started with starting pitching. Tanner Bybee was the best he's been all year, through his entire pitch mix, located down in the zone, made that adjustment in this start, was good from start to finish, went 7 innings, and the Guardians really needed that. They need the starting pitching to get on a roll. And the final score is going to say that it was 7-0, but this was a close game throughout, and the Tigers had the bases loaded late in the game, and Cade Smith came in, struck out the side. He's had some hiccups lately, especially over in Minnesota the other game. So really important for Bybee to look good. Cade Smith coming in and striking 3 straight out with the bases loaded in a 3-0 game. The Guardians added on late, so they didn't have to go to Emmanuel Clase in that game as well, or Hunter Gaddis, which sets them up really good for Friday's match against the Tigers. This is a big series for the Guardians. There's no such thing as a must-win series in May, but the Tigers are playing good baseball. The Guardians needed to get back to it if they wanted to stay within striking distance as we round the corner into that Memorial Day checkpoint of Major League Baseball. And the Guardians did just that, got themselves off on the right foot in this Tigers series. Listen to Locked On Guardians on Friday for more.
Can the Guardians pitching staff get close to being as good as Detroit?
Now that Clase is a little bit stable, I feel like the back end's a lot better, and it's going to come down to the starters. I feel like the Tiger starters have better stuff, and you have a little more faith in them. But Cleveland, if there's one thing we know about the Cleveland Guardians, it's that they can figure out pitching. They can build a dude. They can fix a guy. I think they can be 90% maybe of what Detroit is. But right now, if you had to give me 2 rotations in the game, I'm probably taking the Detroit Tigers and I'm taking the Philadelphia Phillies, 1 from each league. So I don't know if Cleveland can quite match it, but I think they can come close.
They've got Skubal in the later stages of the series. I believe he's set to go on Sunday in the finale. You get a split, you feel good if you're Cleveland. Really, you win the opener. You want to win the next 2 and go into that finale against Skubal thinking, okay, he might get the better of us on this day. Brewers, lengthy rain delay in Pittsburgh on Thursday. They waited out in the end. Brewers take the opener 8-5. They've won 4 of 5. Christian Yelich, a big night at the plate. But our guy, Mr. Freeman, wants to see more, and he's not going to be fooled with one good night from Christian Yelich. He wants to see a consistent bat from Yelich, the veteran.
One day after dropping a podcast talking about what should the Brewers do about Christian Yelich, he has his biggest night of the year. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, instant reaction, Locked On Brewers. Of course he bounced back, hit 2 home runs, including a 3-run blast in the first inning that set the tone for the Brewers win in Pittsburgh. Yeah, he had a nice night tonight. I'm not going to jump all over it and say, oh, he's back. And no, I'm not going down that road. It's the least we can expect is for our hitter who's getting $26 million a year to do something in the heart of that order. That's what he's paid for. The Brewers made a commitment to him. All right, let's see more of it. I'm not saying he's going to hit 2 home runs a game, but he needs more offensive outbursts. Yelich has a big game. There are a few things, too, in that game that I really liked. Savali making the start. He's back. Carlos Rodriguez gave them some length. And the bullpen is being taxed these days. We'll talk about all that. They did cut somebody from their bullpen, which I was a little bit surprised at. I know you fans have been calling for it, but we'll talk about Payamps getting released. All that and more coming up on tonight's edition of Locked On Brewers, released a little bit later on tonight. Please hit the subscribe button.
Listen, Chuck, slander works. I am a believer in this. You do a podcast and you talk about a guy not living up to his contract, bam, he's going to fix it. And obviously it worked with the Locked On Brewers.
Payamps is going to be gobbled up by somebody.
Oh, yeah.
He'll have to go through the process, but somebody's going to say, this guy's had a little bit of a track record. We can fix him. And there are plenty of bullpens who can add an arm like that. He just might need a change of scenery. But I give him kudos for making the move. It's not an easy one to do.
Yeah, I mean, he's 31. Like, he's still in the prime of his career, but 18 in the third innings this year, 17 runs. It's an 8.35 ERA. And apparently he's out of options. They just didn't have any other thing to do other than DFA him. And like you said, somebody's going to grab him. And I feel like he can probably get fixed. I mean, he had a 2.78 ERA for them over 23 and 24 while throwing 130 innings. This clearly is, unless he's hurt, this has to be something that's fixable, and somebody else will do it. Milwaukee just ran out of patience.
Blue Jays complete the series sweep against the Padres on Thursday, winning in 11-7-6. Nathan Luke's game-winning RBI base hit scored Dalton Varsho, who had an RBI triple in that 11th inning. Jays take all three, 3-0, 14-0, 7-6 against the Padres. All of a sudden, the Padres, they're scuffling right now, and they're struggling scoring runs.
Yeah, they've lost 6 straight games, 9 total runs over those 6 games. And they just awful. That is, I don't know what is going on with this Padres team. It's a very good Padres roster. Jackson Merrill is back. They still have Fernando Tatis Jr. Gavin Sheets single-handedly was almost all of their offense today. He had 3 hits. I think he had 2 separate home runs in the second. And then he got Hoffman to blow a save in the 9th and send it to extras. 5 RBI in this one. And if you can't win when you have a dude who drives in 5 and hits 2 home runs, you might be in a little bit of trouble.
That is going to do it for this edition of MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. Lindsay and I are back at it Friday night into Saturday morning, covering a full slate of Major League Baseball action around the big league ballparks. Tell your friends all about us, and we'll be back at it again Friday night.